Welcome, Sacramento soccer fans, to the State of the Republic podcast. I'm your host, Luis, and in today's episode 262, we got a few things to talk about. First, we're going to start with the 2-0 loss against Phoenix Rising on Saturday, in a game that most of us wish would have never happened. I mean, it's going to be really unfortunate to even have to talk about it here today because it was rough seeing the guys out in Phoenix, and game could have been even more than a 2-0, but thankfully we got a good goalkeeper out back that helped us out in this match. In addition to that, of course, we'll talk about our upcoming cup game against Monterey happening this Saturday at 8 p.m. We're back in cup mode. We leave league to the side, and hopefully we stop this losing streak and get back to the winning streak that we've had in the cup. So we'll talk about what Monterey Bay's recent form is like. And then, of course, we'll do podcast winner dinner. We'll talk about our new goalkeeper that we have on trial for 25 days. We have a bit of podcast magic news to also share. And then, of course, we'll talk about the USLW and League Two recent results and their upcoming games. There's some really good ones upcoming this week. All right. Well, with that being said here, we unfortunately don't have the full team. Sharon can't join us tonight, or maybe she might join if we record a little bit later today. But we'll see. But if not, Sharon, I hope everything is well and you can join us for the next episode. But we got Rian and Jared. First, let's go over to the city of Kilgore, Texas with Jared. How's it going, Jared? How's everything out in Texas?
Hot as hell. They were talking about it being 96 today, and you can add in the humidity as well. I am just so thankful to be working in an air-conditioned office somewhat, at least with a fan, and, of course, the beer cave like coldness here in my house. So other than that, it's going excellent here. I wish the same could be said about this past week, but, we'll discuss that, and then we've also got some other news going ahead later on.
Ooh, yeah, that I'm sure it feels like over 100. With the humidity, that's terrible. But hoping things get better over there too. I know the weather's kind of all over the place right now. There, here, everywhere. Right, it rains one day and then 2 days later it's really hot. All right, next let's go over to the Sacramento area, over to Natomas with Rian. How's it going, Rian? What's today's jersey?
Yeah, I'm rocking the San Diego Loyal Pride jersey from a couple years back. So happy Pride to all those who celebrate. Here in Natomas, things are I mean, the last match was kind of a disappointing match to watch, and we're gonna be diving into that and dissecting what went wrong for the Republic, and hopefully things look better for us ahead.
Yeah, I would even say probably one of the worst matches in a long while. It's been a while since it's been like that, or where the opposition has so many shots, and where a game could have been even more than what the score shows. But yeah, well, let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's talk about the 2-0 away loss against Phoenix Rising, second consecutive loss on the road. Again, we're on this little road trip, which isn't over. I know we're going to be back at home for the cup, but league-wise, we're going to travel out to Colorado. So as if away opponents weren't difficult already, we get another difficult one happening after next Saturday. But in regards to this game, though, again, 2-0 loss, 2 penalties happened in the first half. We'll take a look at what happened there because I'm sure we all have our thoughts on how those penalty kicks occurred. But first, I just want to hear what you guys had to say about just the game in general and all the things that happened. So, Rian, just what were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, so for this one, firstly, I want to thank Valor because we were talking about this match as it was happening. So he kind of bounced some ideas off. For what went wrong for the Republic, I think we might have been put in a situation injury-wise where we had to force Mark Anthony Kay and Danny Chrysostomou back maybe a little bit sooner than they would have wanted. It looked to me they weren't effective in covering the defense. The defense was completely exposed throughout the 90 minutes, and it shows in both penalty decisions where Desmond is being beaten, Benitez is being beaten. Phoenix was all over the place, and we couldn't protect our defense. Isan Sako and Hope Avayebu, they were bouncing around, popping up in different spots, and it was tough for the Republic defense to try and keep a cover on them. Danny Vitiello, he was the MVP on the night, even though the penalties went against him. It could have been worse. It definitely could have been worse if he didn't come up with some miraculous saves for Sacramento. But yeah, in terms of the match, the midfield wasn't effective. We tried to play direct to find Ajago, and he couldn't hold on to the ball. We couldn't find Malongo. We couldn't find Gur going up the wings. So all that pressure kind of compounded back onto the defense, and Phoenix broke through. If there is a silver lining to this match, there were no goals in open play from Phoenix. It was just the penalties, so that's something. But Phoenix completely overran us on the night, and there's a lot to improve for Sacramento if they want to contend for the Western Conference.
Yeah, so much.
All right, I got to put my filter away on this. So if there's little ears listening, you might want to hit mute for a little bit. This match quality was more ass than the Kardashian sisters riding burros on the rim of the Grand Canyon. It was horrific. The penalty calls were softer than Sam's Club pack of Charmin toilet paper. The shot quality, I mean, Phoenix had our number. I mean, they basically shut us down. We had only 2-3 shots on goal at halftime, and they were already at 12 or 15, somewhere around there. They just bombarded us. Danny was the saving grace. Once again, if the fact that if those penalties hadn't been called that gifted Phoenix the goals, we'd be talking about a 0-0 match result, and at least bringing home 1 point. At this point, if this continues to be a trend, we might be seeing Coach Collins' days numbered at this rate. I mean, I have to say it. Usually I'm the optimist on this, but watching this match was easily the top 10 worst matches I've seen in USL Championship. And I hate to say that because I love my club, but we have to be realists. This was a horrific match. We were just outgunned and outnumbered.
Yeah. I do want to say I'm still a little bit patient on Collins. I still think we haven't seen a fully healthy Republic. I would have liked to see, Blake Willie in the midfield, see what he could have done. That could have been something. But yeah, I think the position Collins is in right now is a little precarious. But I think he gambled with putting Kay and Crisostomo to start this match. It might have been better if he put Costas on. It might have been better if he had Bonner on. But if woulda, coulda, shoulda, this is the result. It's a result-driven business. This was a rough call.
Yeah, I mean that's how the sport goes, right? Get a few losses, and the form's not right, and you might, as you said, Jared, right? You might be counting your time there with any club, but yeah, I mean, I think if there's something positive to take out of that is that at least we're not talking about last few games of the season, right? Where something like this could be really critical against us, or maybe now you have to take the calculator out and figure out how many points do you need to get that 8th spot to qualify. But yeah, I think there's so much that has to be taken out of this match to never happen again, right? Against the Phoenix Rising, that I mean, they weren't the Phoenix Rising of past, right? I mean, I know when we gave our predictions, some of us were being really cautious. Some of us gave a tie for this match. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't the strongest Phoenix side ever, right? And I feel like they made it seem like Phoenix Rising is in first place and they're the much better side, when in reality, the game going into it was a little bit about balanced out, right? We didn't think it would ever be like that. But yeah, I mean, if it hadn't been for those penalty kicks, so I will say if this game would have been 0-0, it would have been really unfair for Phoenix because they really deserved to actually get a lot more goals than they did, right? I mean, we're looking at the stats. they had a whooping 23 total shots against our 6 total shots. Out of those, they had 10 shots on target. We only had 2 out of the 6. So we got really extremely lucky, right? That they had 23 shots, and something's got to be done about that because you can't have a team have 23 total shots on you and 10 on target. Like you said, Danny was put to work too much, and one of those saves could have even been maybe save of the week. I wouldn't be surprised if it is save of the week, but yeah, he got tested way too many times there. So yeah, that was that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the penalties. What happened again? 2 goals that come out of penalty kicks, and I don't recall a game where we had 2 penalty kicks against, especially in such a short amount of time. It just seemed like the penalty kicks were just like happening, and yeah, some pretty like questionable calls, right? I think especially when we take a look at the first penalty kick that happens, right? I feel like it was all a fair, legal shoulder press from Lee. Like, yeah, I mean, players do this all the time. It wasn't even a really strong shoulder press. I think I've seen some really strong ones where they don't even get a foul called on them. But for this one, yeah, I'm gonna say at least from my side, it's all shoulder. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this, the first penalty kick call.
I was with you. They don't have an angle on like a front angle on it, but from the replay I also thought it was a fair shoulder to shoulder challenge. I think if anything the issue is with the lower body. He might have tripped I forget his name, Studenhoff up in the box. That might be where the issue is. But in terms of like shoulder to shoulder, like that was fine. But to the effect of this game and what this was in general, like Gunnar Studenhoff was like a menace up front for for Phoenix. Like he was like a big physical body, just like making his way through the Republic defense, and that's kind of what I want to see from Ajago. Like I want to see him impose himself on like a, opposing defenses, and we didn't see that on the night. We saw him be more of a like possession, like holding up play instead of like running onto the ball. But like this is a great ball from the midfield to find Studenhoff one-on-one with Desmond, and he capitalized on the opportunity. It's a 50-50. Some on one day you might see that made, on another day you might see that call not made.
This is just a clear indication of how early pool season is in Phoenix, given the fact that it technically starts in March, but this is clearly a soft call. Shoulder to shoulder 100%. And unfortunately, Phoenix, much like every other team in the USL Championship, has unlocked the fact that you could dive against Sacramento Republic FC and get a penalty in your favor. And unfortunately, this is one of 2 that happened deep in the attack zone for Phoenix Rising. They knew how to play it. They knew the refs would really not pay much attention. And the one angle that we had on the camera showed clear shoulder to shoulder, hardly any foot contact, if any at all. But of course, Phoenix takes advantage of this and gets 1-0 on the board.
Yeah, and the only good thing I have to say about this referee is that I'm really glad that he gave the goal scorer a yellow card, right? Because for him to like get in front of Danny's face, mock him, I don't know what was said right there, was unacceptable. And I'm glad that the referee was paying attention to that, pulls the yellow. I don't know what goes through a player's mind to do that, right? It's like an easy yellow for a referee that's actually paying attention to what goes on there. And then also for him doing that, Rihanna and myself got a point. So thank you to the goal scorer for winning a yellow card there, because we got one there. Otherwise, it would have taken a longer time to claim the point. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Just want to add in a little bit. It's like I'm all for a little bit of showboating. Like I'm all for the antics and all that. But like if the only way you can beat Vidiello is via penalty shootout, you kind of don't deserve to taunt like this. Like, come on, man. If you're gonna taunt, beat him in open play. Like this is kind of a bad look on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. That's That's what should have been done, right? In fact, I always say if you score a goal through penalty kick, unless it's the very last goal of the match and it's a championship win, then you maybe shouldn't be like all out celebrating like again you didn't score from there, especially when it wasn't even a penalty kick. But yeah, I mean that happened there. That was the 1-0 again in the first half. And then just as we thought we were going to head into halftime, 1-0, regroup, right? Try and figure out what could be done for the second half. 1-0 is not terribly bad to have. We end up getting a second penalty kick called in the 48th minute. And I think this is one of those plays where, same as the other one, right? As you said, Rian, like sometimes it'll get called, sometimes it won't get called, right? But it almost seems like he also dives right here, right? He barely feels Michel Benitez's arm, and he says, you know what, let me just dive. We got a referee that actually can call him. Let's see if I get this one called. And sure enough, he gets it called, and they get another PK. And it happens to be actually the guy who scored the first PK that ends up doing the play here. So, yeah, I don't know. This referee was just seeing things. I don't know, but again, sometimes these could get called. More often than not, I feel like referees just let it go. It's nothing too major, right? But I don't know. What do you guys think about this one?
This one feels a little more weird to me. Like maybe it was another tripping call, but like if it's on the grab of the shoulder, the dude Sako falls forward instead of back, so I don't think it's that. So it might have been on a trip somewhere, but like yeah, I don't know about this one. This one feels a little weird. But again, to the point of Phoenix's build up, like our midfield was completely bypassed in the build up to this penalty. Like Benitez is already in a 1-on-1, like outside the box. Like that should not be happening. He should have some protection from our midfield to not be exposed like that and to not be put in a situation where he's against Sako, who just completely outmatched him here and did what he needed to do to get a call. But this is just a rough night for the Republic on this one.
There's not enough filters on StreamYard to censor my thoughts as far as this goes. I mean, one, yes, we get burned to the point where Sacco or whatever his name is, it gets open, but also once again, convincing enough for the academy to give him an award, to stumble, bumble, and fall, get yet another penalty kick. I mean, part of this is, the coverage, they managed to advance it far enough to where Sacco can grab it that deep in the area and then just fall once again to just certify they get a chance to kick it from the penalty line. But as is.
Yeah, and if that doesn't even happen, he had a teammate that he could have passed the ball to, which is sure enough, that's probably what would have happened. And they would have had a really good shot on goal. I mean, who knows? Maybe one of our defenders there, trying to see who was that. I think that was Essel back there. Maybe could have blocked it, or maybe Danny gets a hand to it. But they could have had a shot on goal easy right there if he actually passes the ball. If he hadn't fallen right and just passes it, so maybe we still get the 2-0 on us. Wouldn't have been through a penalty kick call, but yeah, they had plenty of opportunities. Now I will say that even though the penalty kicks, I feel like weren't really penalty kicks. In order to get a penalty kick called, you actually have to have those opportunities. So Phoenix kind of deserved them really at the end of the day, right? Because they did the work to get the plays to happen, to get away from our defense and just pretty much just run around them, right? It seemed like they had more speed. Our defense, it seemed like there was some miscommunication. They were being slow. It's just wrong all over the place, right? And this is why Phoenix had the number of opportunities that they had and why they made Danny work overtime in this match. But, that was pretty much it, right? Just the first half. They did that. Second half, they continued to have more opportunities, some opportunities that were I think there was one opportunity that it was called offside, right? If I'm not mistaken. They had that, and it was offside. But again, we were giving away way too many spaces. It could have maybe not been offside. And then you got the opportunity here that we're watching on screen, 81st minute. What would have been a really good goal too, right? You guys saw that assist, right? That like backheel pass could have been one. This is the one that we were saying could be a save of the week, right? Just because, yeah, I don't even know how Danny was able to get to it. It was really like it was a crazy save. It's almost like he saw it in slow motion and was able to get a hand to it there. But yeah, I mean, rough game. Could have been more than 2-0. Easy.
Luis, do you want to talk about the substitutions for this game, or?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull them up here on the screen so we could take a look at all the subs that happened. So 1 second while we get FOTMOV loaded here. So let's take a look at subs here. So we had 5 substitutions, right? And as we expected, right? I mean, you guys know I always I'm a big critic when we have late subs, especially when you're losing, and you should have that sense of urgency. Coach did sub in 2 subs at halftime. Jared Timmer, Memo Rodriguez in the 46th minute, again, just second minute there. They got subbed in for Arturo and Lee Desmond. And then in the 57th, they got Chibi, they got subbed in, and then Pep Casas in the 67th, and then Dom in the 78th minute. I feel like Dom should have been subbed in earlier, right? Because you need more of that attacking power. I don't know why he was the last one of all of them. But yeah, I mean, earlier the subs were great. I think the timing of the subs was great. It's just Dom should have been subbed in earlier. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a note here. If there was one outfield player that had a bright spot, it was Memo Rodriguez. He had some energy to him. He had a spark to him. He's coming off of an injury, and for him to inject some life into this game was nice to see. He comes away with creating the most chances for the Republic with 3 chances created. But that speaks to the rest of the players. If a sub at halftime is out creating you, like what are the rest of y'all doing, man? Like, come on. Jared Timmer, Chibi, they stabilized the backline. Although it's a little interesting to see Desmond come off at half. I wonder what happened there. Maybe an injury, something like that. Hopefully Desmond is fine because we can't afford any more injuries to our backline. They held down the fort against Gunnar Studenhoff. I'm gonna get his name right eventually. But his presence was still felt from Studenhoff, but the Republic backline was able to cope eventually. We saw Casas come on. We saw Warner come in. I agree with you, Luis. We should have seen them earlier. If you wanted to chase this game, like, put them on earlier.
Yeah, so that's my only thing right there, right? Is like, oh, you could have done that. Like, good timing on the other subs. You just got the order wrong. So there's that. But well, we got good news for all of our listeners, watchers. Sharon is actually now joining us here, so we weren't too late here in the game here. So Sharon, we'll go ahead and get you added here if you're ready. Well, hopefully you're ready. Let me know if you're not. But I'm curious to hear, Sharon, what your thoughts were on this match against Phoenix. I mean, we just talked about what they end up doing in this match, and so yeah, let us know, Sharon. What are your thoughts against Phoenix, and also on this substitutions that happen?
So this was like one of the weirdest games for me to. Am I in the studio? Am I in?
Yeah, you're in here. You're
Can you guys see me?
Also frozen, but we could hear you. Yeah,
I'm frozen.
Oh, you're good now. Yeah, no, it was your computer. You were joined twice.
Oh, I'm not using my computer. I had to use my phone because my computer isn't like working. It's frozen. It's frozen. Oh, get this. The last time I used my laptop was to stream the match. So good thing you asked, because it has frozen my laptop. I mean, because I didn't log off of Fox 40, which, by the way, I have to tell you, not only did the game kind of blow, Oh, did you guys already talk about the game being kind of sucky? Anyhow, yeah. But the broadcast every 20 minutes, the broadcast kicked me off, and I heard it wasn't working well for others as well. So every 20 minutes I had to reboot, go on my phone and actually pull it up so I could hear the in between until my laptop rebooted. So streaming on laptops is not a preferable thing for Fox 40. It doesn't like you to do that. And it's not my Wi-Fi, it's not my internet. Because on other streaming channels like ESPN Plus, it just continues to go. But Fox 40 for some reason kicks everybody off after 20 minutes. Every 20 minutes.
Yeah, I've had similar experiences whenever I'm using the fox40.com feed on my TV by way of my Android box. Yes, if I were still using my Fire Stick, I could use the Fox 40 Plus app, but I don't know. It's got to be Vista WorldLink, their feed that they supply to Fox 40 that could be affected by that.
Who knows? At any rate, all I know is every 20 minutes I had to reboot. So I missed little tiny chunks of the game, like 3 or 4 minutes while everything rebooted. But back to the game. I don't know that. Oh, I love Danny Vitiolo, but I don't know about those first bits. I think in the second half, and I know you guys already talked about this, he was coming up big. But where was he in the first half? Or before he had to make like fabulous saves? Where was the defensive communication? Where was the defensive midfield communication? I know we were chatting about things on our chat line, and Rian, I think you may have interjected one comment during chat, but at the end of the day, the stats don't lie. And did you already go over the stats as far as winning duels, pass accuracy?
To be fair, in this match, none of the stats looked too bad for the Republic. Passing accuracy was fine. Touches, I mean, those were a little weird, mostly because Desmond came off at a half. It was just from the numbers, it looks fine to me. But like in terms of like what was, I think it just comes down to what Phoenix was able to do with when they had the ball. They just looked so much better, so much more effective with what they were trying to do.
Okay. So was our effect I'm going to ask the question. Do you think the coach has lost the locker room?
It's hard to say.
Yeah,
I know. Because is there too much pressure on the players to do things perfectly? Are we just not seeing the fullness of what each player offers? I'm not seeing Ajago playing with the joy. He's seeming to look frustrated. That's not how he came to us. He came with joy, and now he's frustrated. It's like when he makes a mistake, he knows he's going to get called out on it. And so when you have that attitude being displayed by a player when that wasn't there before, what does that tell you? So we don't have to answer that question. It's hypothetical, or whatever, rhetorical. At the end of the day, I just want our guys to feel free. Why did Russell Cicerone leave? Was there something there? I hope I'm dead freaking wrong, but I really hope to see a different shining star this coming Saturday. I know our team acts differently together when we win, but when we're struggling, I feel like the guys' heads go down. I don't know if they're immune. We talked about this already, right? We talked about, the fact that some of the players will brush off, getting pushed from the sidelines from the coaching staff. I don't know. There's just something's off, and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, and speaking of Ajago, he had that one opportunity, right? That could have been our only goal of the match. Yeah, I'm like, oh, come on. Like, made it seem like he was a defender in that one chance. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that a few games ago, right, we had that one match where coach was being extremely loud, and louder than usual, and it only makes you wonder like what the situation is in the locker room, right? If he's loud like that in public, how could things look like in the locker room, right? And I feel like players can only take so much until they're like, all right, we know you're like that, but we're losing as well. And then it's just a combination, right? You mix all those things, and maybe some players really start to feel like, all right, come on, like step on the brake, right? But I agree with you. We haven't seen the full potential of the players. We have a solid squad, but something needs to be done to regain that confidence, right? So each player can be at that level. But
I want to add in a little bit. Like, we're not too far from our 3-game winning streak with, us feeling like, oh, our attack is back. We're scoring goals. Everything is looking great. We beat Oakland. Yes. And then we go on the road, and then we just run into a buzzsaw with San Antonio, and then again with Phoenix. Like, there was a switch. It felt like we're seeing two different versions of the Republic at times. There's like a Jekyll and a Hyde going on right now with this Republic side, where you don't know what you're gonna get, and it seems like some days everything is great, and other days the Republic are not up to speed for these matches, and I don't know what's happening with it. There's no consistency right now.
Okay, you put your so you put your finger on it. It's the lack of consistency, I think, because again, looking at the stats, and I can't really see them because I'm looking on my phone, but our possession sucked. This was way less. Our shots on goal was horrible. I mean, all of the, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say the word horrible, but was Phoenix's defense really that impenetrable? I don't think so. I mean, we've busted them before, earlier in the season, that kind of thing. So, did they have a better player on the field or a better couple of players? I don't know. I just think, Rion, when you said that they did better things with the ball when they had the chance, they were finding seams and creases. When I watched the U.S. men's national team play last night or yesterday, I ended up watching it later because I'm dealing with mom healthcare stuff, so I had to watch the recording. I saw them finding seams and creases. They were shooting guys through like brilliant openings. Guys were making runs. They were communicating. We used to be able to do that. Where did it go? Where did those little fine details of finding the seams and creases accurately versus finding a defender on the other team when you're trying to actually put the ball through a seam or a crease? So, there's Jekyll and Hyde. We just don't know what we're going to get. So hopefully this weekend against Monterey, which is a rising team, they're looking good. These last couple matches for them have looked good. So I'm concerned. I mean, I think everybody's concerned. You see the commentary on social media. There's a lot of people that are really worried right now.
That is an understatement of the decade, I have to say. I mean, especially the fact that, yes, we lost to San Antonio 2-1, the same San Antonio FC that nearly gave Sporting Jacks their first ever win in club history just a couple days later, being down 3-0 to Jacksonville. And then we basically brown butter to bed against Phoenix, the team that we had beaten 2-0 earlier on in the season. WTF is going on? That's all I have to ask. WTF is going on here? I mean, I know it's not exactly deep in the season, but we're in a mid level of the season where we got to get this turned around. I mean, we're looking at 9th place right now, if I'm not mistaken. We need to turn this around quick.
Yeah. Is it 9th, Rion?
Yeah, we're in 9th right now. But before we get onto the stands, one more note. You mentioned Phoenix is like what they were like. I mentioned it, but you brought it back up. One thing I do want to point out, a commonality with San Antonio and Phoenix is their midfields. They have like shifting midfields. All their players like are coordinated. They like fill in the gaps when another moves, and like they just move all over the place. And that might be an Achilles heel for Sacramento, where they can't keep up with all the players. San Antonio, you have Mikey Maldonado, you have Arafeev, you have Hernandez. Pirano wasn't on there, but I'm sure he would have been a problem for Sacramento. Mm-hmm. In this Phoenix match, you had Sacco, you had Aveyevu, you had Pop Boy, you had Studenhoff all moving around that, all buzzing the Republic defense, and just they couldn't like deal with that pressure, and that might be a way to break Sacramento going forward. Look for other teams to try and kind of mimic that with their midfields, see if they can like move and shift and expose that Republic back line.
Yeah, they're figuring out what works against us, and that's worrisome when teams have that.
So, did anybody notice again that our lines, our defensive, our midfield, our forwards, that we let ourselves get spread out again? And I sent a message or in the chat, is it humid? And Jared answered yes. So did the humid? Wait, no, that's Phoenix. No, that was in the Texas game. Never mind, I'm wrong.
But it was still pretty warm in Phoenix, though. So yeah, I mean, humid in San Antonio, and of course the heat in Phoenix, which is barreling down on us here because it was supposed to be 96 degrees here in Kilgore. So totally understandable.
But I mean, it shouldn't be an excuse because we're freaking hot here in Sacramento, and our guys apparently, they train for this. They train for that. But I think our lines are getting too spread out so quickly that we're not closing our lines. The defense, I don't know, it looked like we weren't stepping up, and it looked like our strikers and forwards weren't collapsing back quick enough. And so we had these giant gaps. I know, Rian, you're going to talk about that because I think you saw it too. We had giant gaps between the lines, lots of gaps. And we weren't moving, like you said, other teams are moving in unison, covering each other, really moving side to side, up and back, all the things. Where are we with that? That's why I was wondering, did we lose the locker room? Because sometimes when you're willing to listen to the instructions and play the way you're supposed to play, you do it and you're fine with it, and all those things. So are we just like, well, we're phoning it in, we're not. And there's not one single person, I know in the chat we said, well, Pep Costas, maybe he can do a better job than Mark Anthony Kaye. And, Mark Anthony Kaye has a different role, and Pep has a ball distribution facility built in that's kind of nice. He's kind of springy and peppy, so to speak. And, he moves more than Mark Anthony Kaye, but then Mark Anthony Kaye, when he does move, it's with intention. So, are we comparing one versus the other? Are we still short? Memo made a huge difference when he stepped on the pitch. He made a huge difference. But how's his work rate?
Yeah, and Rian mentioned him earlier too, and that's crazy because he was coming off from an injury and he did better than guys that have been pretty healthy lately. But yeah, well, let's go ahead and take a look at this. I know we mentioned it, the USL standings. This is why we are, I think, reacting to things the way we are because, yeah, it's a bit rough. And I warned about this, right? I remember 2 weeks ago we saw the numbers. We saw how close we were to getting out of the playoff territory, the playoff zones, and sure enough, here you go. You lose 2 matches. You're down there, 9th place with 13 points. But all the way above us, though, you got Uncle Ruckus with 21 points, still up in first. Then you got Orange County in second with 19. Phoenix now with 16 again. Was critical. You had to beat them, otherwise they were going to go above you. Then you got Oakland also with 16. Granted, those 3 have 11 games played, so one more game than we do, but still, they're still above us regardless. Then you got FC Tulsa in 5th with 16. El Paso in 6th with 14. New Mexico with 14. Colorado, who we play next in league play, 13 points. So that we are tied with them. Again, same situation as against Phoenix. You got the same number of points. You got to get those points to move ahead of them. So there's our shot at getting back into that playoff territory. But below us, you got Las Vegas with 12, Lexington with 12. Both of them have 11 games played, but still 1 point away from us. And then, as Sharon mentioned, Monterey Bay been making a comeback. We saw they were down a few weeks ago. They have 8 points out of 11 games played. So we got to be careful. I mean, they could win 2 games and all of a sudden they could be above us. Granted, they have one more game than we do, but still, this is how drastic it could be. Where you got teams that were down low that could win 2 games, and then you might be seeing them above you in the table. So, yeah, a bit rough on that side. And just quickly glancing over at the East Conference, things are looking pretty good over for Russell Cicerone and Tampa Bay. 27 points, 8 games won, 3 ties, 0 losses. Yeah, we miss you, Russell. As we said, when he left, he's making a big difference out there. And Tampa Bay's back to being the Tampa of old, right? The Tampa that used to be up there in the standings because their numbers are looking really solid, right? 5 goals against and 11 games played, 19 goals scored. Yeah, this is a team that's going to qualify to playoffs really early.
Qualify nothing. They're taking home the Community Shield at this rate.
Yeah, exactly right. So, yeah, and then the next team that follows them is Indy 11 with 18 points. So, yeah, talk about having a solid advantage over your next team there in the standings. So that's that. And it looks like Sharon's having some technical issues there. So,
Am I frozen again?
your screen's off, but we could hear you.
Oh, I know what happened. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I want to chime
There we
in
go.
a little bit for Louisville. We are kind of entering unprecedented territory for Louisville. They lost 4 in the league on the bounce, and that is a little bit crazy for Louisville. I think. Oh, I forgot the stat, but I think the last time they lost 3 in a row in the league was like 2023, something like that. So 4 in a row is something to be a little concerned about for them.
Yeah, but
that's
it's
crazy.
Louisville City. They'll bounce back. They usually do.
We'll see.
No, I will say you did warn. I think it was you, right, that warned when they got the new coach that things maybe would be changing, and now we're seeing that happening. So,
Now, my point of concern is if Miami, who are nipping at Louisville's heels, if they overtake Louisville City, then it's time to worry.
I mean, Miami did beat them recently.
Oh,
4-3 in a damn goal fest.
Yeah, Miami is no longer the bike of the league. That belongs to Sporting Jacks now.
yeah, which Sporting Jacks is down there with 3 points, 11 games played, still no win. Hopefully they get their win before they play against us because we don't want their first ever historic win to be in Sacramento and was in August, I think, right? I think it's a Stafer game.
I'll be damned if we lose to Sporting Jacks when I'm over there in August.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but the way the team has been playing these last 2 games, good thing we don't have to travel to Jacksonville because they could have gotten them a win with their home crowd over there if they played the way they played these last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's that. But let's go ahead and take a look at our upcoming opponent. Again, we take a break from league play, which might be good for us because league just isn't doing well for us. But Cup is, though. Hopefully they don't carry on the league momentum and they remember they've been doing pretty good in the Cup because this is a critical game, right? You can win this game and you could potentially even qualify for the next round if you get the other results for especially for Boise happening. So, but when it comes to Monterey, last Saturday they beat Loudoun United 4-1. So big win for them there as they make a comeback. Before that, they beat Birmingham Legion 2-0. So they're on a 2-game winning streak. And then before that, they lost against AC Boise 4-3 in the USL Cup. And they lost against Lexington 3-1 at Lexington. So, yeah, they're on a really solid form. We'll see how things are for them this week. And as we're seeing here on the screen, for some reason, they're not showing the Cup game, but that game is happening. So we'll see how things go for them in that game because on the following week on Wednesday, they do host Sporting Jacks in league play. So one would wonder if they're going to actually maybe rest some players or what they will be doing because in the Cup, I think their chances are really low, obviously, at making it to first place just because of the Cup group point structure and stuff. But they might have a shot, I think, still at second place, but even then it's really difficult. So who knows how they'll approach this match, right? Given their good streak in the league. So we'll see. But if they approach it with their same team, it's going to be a difficult match at home against this Monterey squad if it's the same team that's going to be repeating in the lineup. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on now to our weekly contest. See how things were done with podcast winner dinner in this match against Phoenix. So only 2 points were given out. So Phoenix got the first yellow card. So me and Rian got the point. Again, thanks to the goal celebration that was really disrespectful by the Phoenix players scoring the first penalty kick. That awarded us that point there. And Sharon and Jared went blank for this one. So standings are as follows. I'm still in first place with 22 points. And then you got Sharon in second with 18 still. And then you got Rian getting closer to Sharon by 1 point with 17 points. And then Jared there with 10 points. So what's that? So watch out, Sharon. Rian's getting close to you.
You know what? If he's getting close to me and he's catching you, that's what matters. I don't care if he passes me. I'm cheering on anybody, including myself. That's not you, Luis.
Oh yeah. No, granted, I did get a point too. Thankfully, otherwise he would have been. So we're a little even there. But
Yeah,
who knows,
whatever.
right? Cup game is
Whatever.
coming up here, and more points are gonna happen. So
Whatever, Luis. Whatever.
all right.
As long as I got enough room here in the basement for a couple swamp coolers, because we gonna need it.
So, did you guys already talk about Tyler?
No, what's up with Tyler?
I don't know. Nothing. Sorry.
Yeah.
What's his job? Oh, crap. My computer just froze. What's Tyler's job? What's his job?
It should be to score goals, right? I mean, that's what we thought in the first game, that he was gonna live up to the job. But hasn't happened. Now I will say he loves the cup, right? I mean, that's where he scored his goal, right? So maybe he's a cup kind of guy.
Yeah, but that was against what?
Spokane,
League
yeah.
One team?
Yeah.
Spokane, I think.
That wasn't, not to disparage Spokane, but now we're playing Monterey, and they're up and coming, and they're going to throw everything at us, right? Aren't they?
Yeah, I would say so.
They probably still will. I mean, it's still a game against us. They probably want to kick us out of the cup. Yeah, they probably will. I mean, they're gonna play at home on Wednesday, so it's not like they have to travel. So yeah, could be. So yeah, but we have more predictions to give in this cup game, so more points could be given out. So just you guys remember the cup rules, right? 2 goal scorers, and then penalty kick winners should the game be tied, and they go directly to penalty kicks. So, Rian, you want to go first? I feel like it's been a while since you gone first.
Yeah, I'll go first for this one. Okay, Monterey. Well, firstly about Monterey, they got rid of their coach a couple weeks back. So they brought in a new coach. They went on a losing streak a little bit, and then they finally got their new manager bounced with their last 2 wins. Top goal scorer for them is Riley Bidois or Wesley Leggett with 3 goals apiece. So not too prolific of a scorer. For scoreline, I'm going to go with 2-1 Sacramento win. For goal scorers, I'm going to go with Vonner and Edwards as my duo. For assists, I'm going to go with Arturo. For yellow cards, I'm going to go with Monterey getting the first yellow. And for us, I feel so bad. Ever since Cleveland has gone out, I think I've only picked Essel for a little bit. I'm going to continue. Sorry, Aaron Essel. I'm going to hope you get a yellow card. Although weird enough, no yellow cards were given to Republic in the last match. And if we go to a shootout, I'm going to go with Sack getting the win.
All right, I'll go next here. I think it's going to be a difficult match. I feel like lots of goals will be scored, so I'm going to go with the 3-2 Sac win. For the 2 goal scorers, I'm going to go with Malongo and with Edwards. For the assist, I'm going to go with Michel. First yellow card, I'm going to go with Sac. First player to get the yellow card, I'm going to go with Michel. First, or penalty kick winner if we get to that point, Sac. All right. Sharon?
Sure. So I have, I think Edwards is going to see rotation because he's been chomping at the bit to be on the field, and we just haven't seen him enough, And I know he's the role. We just listened to the podcast, or I did. He knows his role of coming off the bench, but I think they're going to rotate him, and I think they're going to turn the Kraken loose, Neil. Release the Kraken. Let him play. So I have a feeling the game is going to be a little closer, Luis, than your prediction. I hope you're right. But I'm going to I agree with Rion, scoreline of 2-1. I've got Edwards and Tyler scoring goals. I actually think it might be Dami, but whatever. Or Malongo. I've got all these other players listed as backup to the backups. I think the assist is going to be Memo. I think we're going to see Memo start. I'm going to go with him. I get Sac pulling the first yellow. Again, I also have Michel because he seems to always be in the mix of doing silly things, and he'll get yellow cards. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is in the list, Rion, of yellow roses for us, but it seems like he pulls a yellow every now and then. And yes, we win PKs if we go there.
All right. Yeah, I'm afraid my New York Jets fandom is quickly seeping into my Republic FC fandom as far as pessimism goes. I am going to say, and I hope I am wrong on this, but believe me, I am going to say Monterey Bay ends up winning 2-1, mainly given recent trendings. As far as goals, I am going to go with Edwards and Malongo. For assist, I am going to go with Gurr. Yellow, for some reason, it ends up being Monterey Bay. And then for yellow, I hate to agree with Rion on this, but yeah, Essel's going to get another one. But if for some reason, if we do go into extra time, maybe Sacramento does edge it out.
Or it'd be that like the PKs if or
PKs.
Yeah, PKs, yeah.
All right. Well, you never know, Jared. I got 2 points last time we got the loss. Those were a tough 2 points, but it was a consolation prize on my end, so maybe you get the same.
We'll
so
see.
question for you guys. Do you think Edwards is going to see rotation?
I think he should, but at the same time, it's not like we're playing during the following week, so that's the only thing. Especially given that he's been seeing a lot of rotation lately. I mean,
He's not. He's not.
So he's been a sub for a while, right?
No, he hasn't even seen the pitch at times. He sits on the bench.
No, yeah. I mean, he's been in the substitution list. I feel like
but he
week
hasn't
over
come
week,
on the field. He hasn't been on the field.
No, yeah. It's been a while. That's what I'm saying. Like he's just been a substitute, and.
But do you think this cup match is the match that they'll let him run?
I would hope so, but given the recent results, is what has me wondering, right? Because evidently, coach hasn't given him the confidence, and I don't know. That's what has me worried, just because of the recent results. The whole rotate your players. I don't know how he's gonna feel about
Rion, let me ask Rion, what do you think?
Last time we saw him was the San Antonio match where he played 25 minutes. I don't see why not. If it were me, I would rotate him on. I mean, to be fair, Jago did get a goal in that match, but I think something needs to change in the Republic, and why not bring Edwards on? Let's see him.
Okay. I think he's the Kraken. Look what he did when I know it was a different team when we went down to Clovis. But look what he did there. I don't know. I just want to see. I want to see him play again.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that I feel like, even though hasn't been subbed in some games or he barely gets minutes, he'll still get subbed in and still try to, prove that he needs to get more minutes, right? He's not the kind of player who will get bogged down from not playing and right won't give anything when he gets subbed in. So
is the reason why he doesn't get minutes is do you think he doesn't understand the system or he's not playing to the way the system works? Or is it just we have too many strikers? We've got Malongo with speed, we've got Ajago with speed and bravery, and we've got Tyler that we have to play kind of thing. This is when I wish I had like 5-7 pundits on our podcast right now for opinions. I would love to ask that on our storyline. Maybe after Trivia Tuesday, we can ask some questions. I love Trivia Tuesday. I love it. Rion, thank you.
Thanks. But to go back to your question, like in the glimpses that we have seen Edwards, it's not like he's like noticeably out of place. Like, he seems all right. He seems like he fits the system. We're not in training. We don't see what happens in practice. So Neil has all the information. He might be seeing something that we don't. That's the best that we could do at this point.
Yeah, it's got to be something there that we're not seeing, right? Because
Yeah,
otherwise it wouldn't make sense. But you always got coaches that have their, I think, preferred players, right? The ones that get more minutes. And even though some players might not be doing as great, they still get more minutes. Example, Tyler Wolf here. Again, he's still given all these opportunities. He only scored the goal in his first few minutes playing, right? So why not give the other guy who's been playing with us a few more games that opportunity? That's why Tyler should be gone back to the subs. I know he had an excellent performance in his first match, but it was a different team. You can't just live off that one goal that you scored in those first few minutes where you were doing good. If you're not doing good in the rest of the games, it's time for you to see some bench time, right? So,
yeah, interesting. I just want to see our guys. I hate to say the word run more, but maybe move more. Be more interested in receiving the ball, not watching the game play. It's like be more involved. Like you see a ground pass coming towards you, move to the ball because we've been getting picked off. I know that our pass completion didn't look like it suffered, but I've been seeing a lot of pickoffs of our passes because the guys receiving the ball aren't moving to the ball or moving to the open space or getting themselves open or working in the support or following the shot. It's like maybe they're unclear or maybe our coach is giving different instructions. I don't know. It's just different. Oh, you want to talk about 25-day contract. Yeah. So
the new player, we didn't think we'd get another player that would be on one of these famous 25-day contracts, right? We know how things went with the last two. We wish they would have stayed with the squad, but interestingly enough, right, we got a goalkeeper now on trial, Joshua Moya, goalkeeper who's been around in the area. He actually was playing with Davis Legacy in League Two, right? We cover League Two here on the podcast, and we've now signed him on a 25-day contract here throughout most of June. But before recording, Rihanna and myself were kind of looking at the games that he could potentially, be out on the bench for. It looks like it would only be 3 games here in June. So, we have no information, right? I think we've just been hearing rumblings, right, that Randolph might be injured, right? Or maybe something else. I'm not quite sure, but
Randolph is probably injured. There was somebody who's on the inside that may have had the best information. So
he has that going on. What I'm really intrigued by this, though, is why we didn't have maybe an academy goalkeeper. like as a third goalkeeper? You would think most teams have their 3 goalkeepers set. Why do we have to go out and get a goalkeeper on trial? Granted, yes, he's been training with the team for maybe a few days now, but why not have someone who's been with the team all these first months of the season kind of step into that role, which again, he might not see any minutes, right? We're hoping he doesn't because that would mean then he gets injured. But why is it that we didn't have an academy goalkeeper that
Do you want me to answer that? I'll answer that.
Yeah.
He's played against big boys. This guy has played against big boys. He's played against big men. He's played at a high level of competition that's a little bit different than playing in an academy. None of our academy goalkeepers have even gone up against first team. None of them. This guy has gone up against big boys. He knows what that's all about. And so that's why we signed him. Our academy guys, they're not ready for prime time if something happened to Danny. They're not. They haven't gone up against big boys. They've gone up against their age group, under 17, under 19s.
Well,
so this is a big boy.
Also going to add in, we do have an academy keeper on roster, Brooks Doolittle. He did show up on the team sheet for the San Antonio match, but he didn't make an appearance. But we do have that available to us.
You're correct. Sorry about that. But obviously there's a reason why we're not relying on that guy versus a man who's gone up against, That's the only. So here's the thing. When I worked for the club, we would bring in keepers all the time for rotation because they wanted to play 4 small-sided games at one time. So we always had to have an extra couple keepers. There was an academy keeper. There were walk-ons. There were guys like this. This guy must be doing something right because he's probably been training with the team for a while because you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to bring in guest players to make to make enough of a squad to have 2 small-sided games going on at one time. So he's obviously impressed. During training sessions.
Yeah, I guess my thing is more so like don't keep him on a 25-day contract, but hey, I know it would be a third goalkeeper like position, but just sign him off already, right? Because you never know, he might get injured again.
Money. It's all a little bit about money. It's about space. How many do we really want to carry on the roster? Do we want to leave space to bring in a different striker, midfielder, defender? So that's why it's probably just a 25-day.
Yeah, I guess I find it interesting just being a goalkeeper, right? That you would take up or have them on a 25-day trial when they might never even see a minute.
But he's been training with the team, so he provides backup for Danny. Now, some people are saying they think the way that Danny's been moving, that he is not overtrained, but overgamed. Like he's stiff. Somebody mentioned something about he looks like he's guarding an injury. I don't think that's true, but we definitely need to have somebody who's ready to get in between the pipes if Jacob is injured.
Yeah, I mean, I think those people, hopefully they're wrong, of course, right? But they might not be that far off just because he has been playing in multiple competitions, right? Like
all of them.
USL Cup wouldn't be him, just like last year Jared took over USL Cup, but coaches deciding to keep him on in USL Cup. And I don't know if that might be a wise thing to do, right? When you have those games go on and those can be really intense. So I don't know. Maybe we see Joshua on Saturday. Who knows? Actually, that would be great if we did, because it would be great for him to get some minutes in the trial, right? And at least, try and impress the coach there while that goes on. But all right. Well, aside from that, though, we do have more news. Jared, you want to go ahead and let us know? We have a podcast magic moving on, right?
Yeah, it was just announced shortly before recording had started that William Bijev has taken a new position with Clovis North Broncos Soccer. This is basically Clovis North High School that he's the new director of boys soccer with. This is from the posting. Coach Bija returns to Clovis North after building an impressive playing and coaching career that spans the highest levels of the game. A former professional player with experience in England, Germany, Norway, Bulgaria, and the United States, he brings a wealth of knowledge, leadership, and passion back to the Broncos program. As a former Bronco player and assistant coach, Coach Bija's journey reflects a lifelong commitment to the values, culture, and tradition of Clovis North soccer. So definitely a great news to hear. Our podcast magic of Ilian moving upward and onward.
Yeah, especially moving back to the school that he played with, right? That's gotta be different when you get to go back to your school, and especially directing their program there. We know the amazing soccer pitch that they have there from our Cup game, and so yeah, great spot for him to be at. It looks like they have a great program out there. So congratulations to him, and yeah, hopefully they do great out there. But all right, well, moving on to USLW and League Two scores, because we got a few games that happen and some really great matchups that are going to be coming up here this week. So let's go ahead and start here first with USL League W. So this past week, California Storm traveled out to Marin, beat them 4-0. So another win for Cal Storm to add to their standings for this season in USLW, which they just started, about a week or two ago. And then you got Stockton Cargo also pulling up with a win at San Juan, not an easy place to play at. 3-1 was the scoreline for that match. And then a few days later, Stockton Cargo once again getting the win, this time at Stockton, beating Pleasanton Rage 3-0. So 2 back-to-back wins, 6 goals in 2 matches. And what a time for this to happen, right? Stockton Cargo playing Cal Storm at Cal Storm on Wednesday. That game starts at 7 p.m. If you're able to go to it because these two teams are in great form. They've got their wins. This is going to be a good matchup. This might even decide their first place in USLW, right, in the NorCal division. So, yeah, great game. Sharon, I don't know if you're going to be at that match, but this is like the match to be at for the season.
It depends on how my mom is doing, given that she broke her arm and I've already been with her a few times today. We'll see. I want to go, but it all depends. Mom, family first.
Oh, yeah. Of course, yeah. Let us know if you do go. Please
Yes.
share the stories if you do go there. And then more games this week for local teams. San Juan is going to be playing Marin FC on Wednesday as well. So we got 2 games going on in the Sacramento area there on the same day. So that is that for League W League there. And then moving on to League Two. A few days ago, Davis Legacy traveled out to San Francisco, lost against them 1-0 against the Glens. And then you got San Juan actually visiting Almaden, lost against them 4-0, so 2 losses there. And then Academica also losing 5-3 at Marin. So not a good week in League Two for our teams in the area, unfortunately for them. But Wednesday, you're going to have Davis Legacy hosting San Francisco Glens. And then you got Academica traveling out to San Juan, play against them on June 6th as our upcoming game. So hopefully things pick up for the League Two squads in our area, because it's been a bit rough for them this season so far. So that is that. So, all right. Well, moving on. Golazo of gratitude, final parting words. Sharon, go ahead and do us the honors as usual.
This is a tough one, but my golazo of gratitude is my friends that have been supporting me when I've reached out, because I was pretty darn sad yesterday. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody who chimed in and just offered words of support, encouragement to my mom and for my mom, and also for me, because, the support system and, my sister was right there behind the scenes cheering on, recovery and care and all those sorts of things. And then of all things, Kaiser, which is a trauma to emergency facility, they handled
things so well for my mom. The place was clean, and the Casamas fire department, they handled my mom really well when she called 911 after she fell. So I think all of the words of comfort and the people who showed incredible caring, including the 3 times I was on the phone with Kaiser today. There's a lot of empathy out there in the world, and I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody.
I guess I'll try and follow that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Rihanna, I'm expecting some tears, a little tissue in the eye.
I'm trying not to cry on camera right now. For my Golossos and final parting words, just gonna shout out the Panini trading community for helping me work on my sticker album for this year. Shout out to Forza Horizon 6, great game, amazing setting, beautiful. I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm just gonna shout out PSG. Thank you for beating Arsenal in the Champions League. Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that, Arsenal. Yeah, those are my Golossos. Final parting words. I don't think it's the time to press the panic button for Sacramento, but our next 3 matches in the league against Colorado, New Mexico, and Tulsa. Those are 3 teams right above us in the playoff standings. If we can't make inroads on those 3 teams, my hand is hovering over the button. Jared, any Golossos of gratitude and final parting words?
All right, for Golossos of gratitude, I definitely want to give some to both my employer as well as local establishments, Back Porch and Venetia's restaurants. We ended up introducing a new direct report for our team. So we celebrated with Back Porch, and then we bid a farewell to our now departing direct report. She has been totally awesome with us, very kind with our team, and we're certainly going to miss her, but we know she's going to enjoy not having to commute between New York and Texas so often. So definitely big gloss of gratitude there. Also, some final parting words. I just want to take a brief moment to honor Sacramento sports legend who as of earlier today, we found out had passed on. Former Sacramento Kings coach Rick Adelman. This was the man that was the blueprint behind the Kings' resurgence, the Renaissance during the late 90s, early 2000s, and also the same coach that got us within biting distance of going to the NBA Finals back in 2001. He was age 79. He was recently enshrined to the NBA Hall of Fame, and he'll be sorely missed by Kings fans and Sacramento sports fans all around. And I don't know. I'm as far as the button pressing, I am almost ready to imitate the Chemical Brothers song "Push the Button" fairly soon if we don't turn this ship around. And go Republic, please.
Yeah, hopefully you don't have to press the button there, but for my gloss of gratitude, simply goes out to all the listeners for adding more listens to the few episodes we recorded before the last one. And also the last one, I know it wasn't an easy one to record just like this one because it was a loss, and especially to lose against Uncle Ruckus, but you guys are still listening to the podcast even when we have losses. And, trust me, I know it's not easy to have to hear of us talk about opposition, their goals, and what they did right, and potential, saves of the week. But that's how things go. So thank you so much for you guys still listening to us, even during these tough moments with Republic. But hopefully things get picked up. It's only been 2 games, and yeah, let's panic if it's more than 2 games and it's like 6 games where we haven't won or not even gotten a point. But I think everything will turn around. Again, good thing it's early on in the season to where there's plenty of time left for the team to fix any issues that have been going on, and for players to get some more minutes and some other players to start seeing some bench time. But other than that, as usual, guys, check out the website, sacsoccerpod.com. Go look at Rian's All Is Quell blog. Watch our podcast episodes as well. Apologies, the last one. I had it edited. I had it recorded. I thought it would be posted. I check it. It didn't post. So I had a technical issue also with that one getting posted. But this one will get posted here tonight as we record. Might be minimally edited. So because we're trying to get this posted ASAP. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. You'll catch us sometime next week as we talk about the Saturday's game against Monterey. So with that being said, we hope you have a good morning, good night, whenever you're listening or watching. And you'll hear us next week here on Stay the Republic podcast.
Final parting words, go Republic, and cue the music.